Good evening. Before I begin, I would like to tell you just a little bit about myself. My name is Shai Cohen. I am 35 years old and a proud dual citizen of the state of Israel and the United States of America. I'd like to begin tonight by addressing a misnomer that has been spreading around for the past couple of years. And that is that Barack Obama is not a friend to Israel. Now, I find this notion to be common because throughout the last 4 years, in both word and deed, Barack Obama has proven time and time again that he is indeed a very good friend to Israel. But if it's by blocking the Palestinians' attempt for recognition in the statehood of the United Nations, or sending over $3.2 billion in foreign aid to the state of Israel in the last 4 years, which is more than any other president in the history of the United States of America. Now, much like any best friend, sometimes best friends do disagree. And in recent months, we have seen this in regards to Iran's nuclear ambition. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu believes that red lines should be drawn in the sand as far as Iran's nuclear capability. Barack Obama believed that sanctions, financial sanctions, will ultimately take effect. We are beginning to see the effect that it's taking on the streets of Tehran. And Barack Obama said that no red lines should be drawn. So long as he is commander-in-chief, and so long as he is the president of the United States of America, Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. Simple as that. And as recently as last Friday, Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Barack Obama were finally able to agree on this one core issue. Moving on. Just over a month ago, the Republicans and the Democrats held their conventions. The Republicans held their convention in Tampa, and the Democrats had theirs in North Carolina. When the Republicans had their convention in Tampa, senator after senator, congressman after congressman, speaker after speaker, came up there and told America how broken America was and all the things that were wrong with America. But yet, no one, not even the person who's running to be vice president, nor the governor who's running to be president, gave America any solutions of how to fix it. Now, why do you think that is? That is because they don't have any new ideas. They want to go back to the same failed policies that got us into this mess in the first place. That following week, the Democrats had their convention in North Carolina. And following the first night, much like they have done many times before and many times since, Governor Romney's campaign released a statement, once again putting their foot in their mouth, as they have done before and they have done many times since, by saying that we heard great speeches tonight. But notice that not one person said after that first night how we are better off today as a country than we were 4 years ago. Through the duration of the convention, the Democrats make this their key issue. And speaker after speaker, congressman after congressman, they all came up there and told everybody exactly how much better off America was today than it was 4 years ago. It's illustrated no better and in no more of a unique way than former President Clinton, who broke it down to us in a simple common denominator and told us exactly where we were, where we are, and where we were heading as a country. So I would like to piggyback off that if I could tonight, and just list just a few things as to how I believe we are better off today than we were 4 years ago. 4 years ago, we were losing to the tune of 800,000 jobs a month. Just today, 4 years later, we gained 114,000 jobs as reported in the jobs report this morning. And for the first time since 2009, our unemployment level is below 8%. Month after month, in the last several months, we have gained jobs, have it be 40,000 or 80,000 or 100,000. But we always are at or a little bit above the forecast, and we are gaining jobs as opposed to losing them. 4 years ago, General Motors had to be forced into bankruptcy hundreds of thousands of American workers from all across this, from Detroit and all over this great land, had to face the real possibility of the factories closing. 4 years later, thanks to the auto bailout, today General Motors is not only out of the brinks of bankruptcy, but their General Motors is once again the leading manufacturer in the world. 4 years ago, if you were serving in the military and risking your lives for our freedom in the mountains of Afghanistan or in the deserts of Iraq, you had to hide who you truly loved. You couldn't tell everybody after you came home from leave and you were back in the battlefield, and if you listened to your fellow soldiers say stories about their wives or husbands, you couldn't share in that. If you were asked questions, you either had to not answer it or lie altogether. Today, thanks to the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, you can now share into those stories. You can be proud, gay, or openly lesbian in the military without fear of repercussion from your superiors. 4 years ago, we were in the midst of two wars. A war in Iraq that should have never been started and should have never been waged, and a war in Afghanistan. Today, the war in Iraq is over, and our troops are home. In the next year, the war in Afghanistan is winding up to an end, and those troops will be home. Thanks once again to our Commander-in-Chief and the promises of Barack Obama. 4 years ago, the mastermind of the killings of over 3,000 Americans in the World Trade Center in New York City, in the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and in the United Flight 93 that ultimately crashed in a field in Pennsylvania. That mastermind, thanks to unbelievable intelligence, unbelievable courage by our Navy SEALs, and a backbone of steel by a Commander-in-Chief. Today, Osama bin Laden is dead after more than 10 years of avoiding justice. 4 years ago, if you were a child who came to this country with your parents, pledged allegiance to the only flag that you have ever known, loved this country with everything in your heart, you had to live in fear and in shadows once you became 18. You couldn't apply to go to college, and you couldn't you couldn't get a job. As your friends went here and there, you had to live in the shadows of the fear of deportation. Today, thanks to an unbelievable act by President Barack Obama, you no longer have to live in those fears. You can apply for temporary work permits and a Social Security card. So, and you can see that this country is as proud of you as you are of it. 4 years ago, if you were sick and you had a pre-existing condition and you needed your insurance company the most, you saw your insurance carriers raise your premiums to record levels. If you didn't have insurance, you weren't able to get insurance at all, thanks to the prejudice that insurance companies were giving to people who had pre-existing conditions. Today, thanks to the Affordable Health Care Act, those discriminations against pre-existing conditions no longer exist. The insurance companies cannot simply just hike your rates because you're getting sick, or not accept you because you need them, and you need medicine, or you need to go to the hospital or the doctor, or whatever it may be. 4 years ago, if you were a child, a teenager, about to enter your adult life, and if you had to pick your college out, or figure out what you're going to do as far as a career, you had to worry about finding health care insurance. And many of you did not even get it because you couldn't afford it. Because at the age of 18, you were automatically kicked off your parents' policy. Once again, thanks to the Affordable Health Care Act, you can now stay on your parents' policy until the age of 26. Now, in no way, shape, or form am I saying that this bill is perfect. But it is so much more. It is so much better than having nothing. So many presidents before him have tried, only to come so close and fail in the end. But Barack Obama did not take no for an answer. He didn't just give up the fight simply because it was the right thing to do politically. He fought for us because he has done always time and time again. Not worry about how this will look politically, but worry about how this will affect everyday Americans. These are just a few things here and there that I picked out as to how we are better off today than we were 4 years ago. But America, we are now just 32 days away from the 2012 election. It will be the most important elections of our lifetime. We have never been presented with a more clear choice. Do we want to keep moving forward under the leadership of Barack Obama? Or do we want to go back to the failed policies that got us in this mess in the first place and choose Governor Romney? Now I will admit, we are not as far along as I would like to be. We may not be moving in the pace that we want to be. But America, let there be no doubt, we are heading in the right direction. We see the light in the end of the tunnel. We are moving forward. That's what we are doing. We're not looking back. We are moving forward. But America, I urge you, I beg of you, to talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, make phone calls and knock on doors and do whatever it is that you have to do to make sure that on November the 6th, we line up, just as we did 4 years ago, around schools and churches. We line up to re-elect Barack Obama. And what I urge you to do more than anything is do not pay attention to the polls. To those of you who see the polls, I'd ask you to remember one thing. Remember New Hampshire. 4 years ago, when Barack Obama was against Hillary Clinton, we were just coming off an improbable victory in Iowa. And all the polls show us up big. And some polls show us up by double digits in New Hampshire. It was supposed to be a shoo-in. It was supposed to be an easy cakewalk. Barack Obama was supposed to seal the nomination right then and there that night in New Hampshire. And what happened? Hillary Clinton won. Because too many people paid attention to the polls and said to themselves, I don't have to go and vote. He got this. He's going to win. He's up by 10 points according to CNN. He's up by 15 according to MSNBC. Do not pay attention to the polls. For those of you who live in states where you may need voter ID, you go on your governmental websites. Go on Barack Obama's website. Make sure you register. And make sure you have all the proper documentation that you have. Because one of our greatest rights as Americans, one of our greatest rights is the right to vote. And that's what I urge all of you to do. Let's rebuild the grassroots campaign just like we did 4 years ago. Let's rebuild the most diverse coalition in American history, consisting of blacks and whites, Hispanics and Asians, Native Americans, gay, straight, disabled and not disabled, Catholics and Christians, Jews and Muslims, Americans who will once again send message to the world that we have never been just a collection of states or a collection of individuals. We are and always will be the United States of America. Are you ready? We are still fired up. We are ready to go. We are ready to move forward, America. And on November the 6th, I want you to line up and I want you to help me. Help Barack Obama win 4 more years, because we have come too far as a country to go back now. We have moved too much forward to turn around now. We have made too much progress to be denied now. So I urge you, please vote for Barack Obama on November the 6th. Do what you got to do. Carpool and do everything else. Knock on doors and make phone calls. And let's re-elect Barack Obama for 4 more years, because we owe him that much after he has given us so much in the past 4 years. Thank you. May God bless you. And may God always bless the United States of America.